name is Mae Whittick. Welcome to Her Conversations, Tools for the Awakening. Her is an acronym for Higher Energetic Resonance. This is the optimal state to embody in order to attract our highest desires. What is the awakening? This is the moment in time when humanity rises up out of the darkness. Who is awakening? Each one of us present on earth today, reclaiming our sovereignty, seeking greater possibilities in our reality and looking for solutions. We know being awakened is not a lofty ideal, but a necessity. If we can transform ourselves, we can change the world. Guests on Her Conversations will speak to your spirituality, sensuality and soul. Listen to their stories and hear how they are in service to the world. Let their words and these conversations embolden and inspire you. The resonance of your truth. So, firstly, begin by congratulating yourself. Recognize the strength of character and the mental fortitude you possess. We can see clearly now the forces of evil that are hell-bent, pun intended, on deceiving us into our demise. It's a 360-degree attack. It comes not only from the media, but also from the people who you would consider your closest relationships. People you have known for the longest time who would have witnessed you at your lowest, experiencing the most pain, and also been part of your celebrations when life was being good to you. We say we want the truth, but can we handle the truth? It is an all-encompassing demand. Nothing can hide anymore. If you notice, as we unearth the reality of our world, we simultaneously are shown the foundations of those connections and what they're built on. So many are fake or conditional, precariously balancing on the sands of pretension and unable to weather the force of truth. For example, how many times have you said no when you meant to say yes, or yes when every cell of your body was saying no? Have you gone along to get along and then tried to ignore the weight of personal disappointment, shame and disgust at your own lack of authenticity? Remember the times when you've kept silent in a group, when the loudest voice has trumpeted on saying the opposite of your thoughts and yet you said nothing? Your silence signalled your agreement. People assumed you thought like them when you knew you were different, or when you promised to call someone when you had no intention of spending time with them. How many years did you work at that job that you hated, with people that you held no respect for because it seemed easier to stay than find an environment that respected your gifts, or even branch out and create a business of your own? Whatever and whoever in our personal lives that is not authentic cannot journey forward with us. As the loose connections expose themselves, it will be shocking and painful to detach. However, when we allow what is not for us to fall away and get accustomed to the space left by those dysfunctional attachments, we feel liberated. We expand because we're no longer holding ourselves back, watching our words and curtailing our behaviour for fear of upsetting those fragile egos. When we use our newfound voice to speak as we've long desired to do, we're imbued with new powers and a richer resonance that can at first surprise us. I'm going to use a personal story to illustrate this. My voice, both singing and speaking, used to be very light. It was literally all in my head. It was not rooted or connected. And my performances always frustrated me because staying on pitch was more of a game of chance rather than something I felt I had control over. So I changed voice coaches, and for the first month or so, she would not allow me to really sing. I had to do the most monotone exercises. It was repetitive and boring, and I thought it had nothing to do with music. Despite my frustration and not seeing the wisdom of her method, I kept on, because at that point I had nothing to lose. So what she was listening for was the placement of my chest voice, and the only way to find that was to stay in the space where the resonance was and explore. And finally, after weeks of growling, we got there. Once I connected, I was astounded by the feeling and the power of my voice within my own body. The potency, the timbre. It was initially emotional because the vibration in my chest cavity also shook my heart space open. This was a life-changing moment. I had found my true voice. Awakening affects everything, as so many are discovering now. What it feels like to awaken to their own being in comparison to the headspace we've lived in before. As you become accustomed and more trusting of this new territory you occupy, and you begin to live and speak from it, it will shake away the lies, and that's not always pretty. Those who see you change will come to attack, and their goal is the same. They want you back, playing small and living the lie that they are too cowardly to leave. Their methods are going to be immature, things that they know that they could never withstand. So they ridicule you, they fight you, plead, threaten, but you now embody the resonance of your truth. You recognise their games and they cannot break you. Your ability to speak up highlights their weakness and their inherent failure to respect themselves. The more you root into yourself, the more you know nothing at all will sway you, and weak minds cannot handle that. People who have no knowledge of themselves are controlled by a desire to be liked and adored by others. External validation is the fuel of complicity. At this point in time, anybody who chooses to ignore the heavy deception in this world has made the decision to sell their soul. Staying in the lie seems more comfortable than admitting they were duped. Their ungrounded sense of self is shrouded by the mask of qualifications they have, where they live, what they earn, who they vote for, etc. These constructs leave no room for self-exploration, and in fact, it's demonized. You have to let go of the worldly you to find the truth of you. It's an obliteration of the false self, and as we know, for most people, they fear death despite having no defined reason for living. But imagine if you lost everything, your money, your possessions, and your qualifications were declared null and void. You would not physically die. You would still be here, and then you would discover yourself from a deeper, truer level of knowing. You would realise that as entertaining as these trinkets are, they are nothing. All that matters is inside of you, defined by you, and that can never be taken away. You meet yourself and you activate your true powers. That initiation, like my growling in an unfamiliar place, will be the dawning of the greatest moment of your life. You will find the truth, you find you, and you want to tell everybody about it. So let your voice ring with conviction. Genuine souls will gravitate to you, and they'll be grateful that you are being who you are. They will encourage you to shine. And now picture that world where we all live from the resonance of our truth, because we're creating it now. Thank you for listening. That was just a short piece that I was inspired to write by so many people that I'm connecting with right now. We all seem to be experiencing similar things, really checking in with our long-term connections and relationships on all levels as we're looking out into the world at large and recognising the lies and really digging for the truth. It actually reflects in how we are showing up in the world, and everything that isn't true falls away. So to everyone who's going through that, I get it. I think we're all doing it at the same time, and it's part of what we want it to go forward. So thank you for listening. And if you want to find out more about me, you can do so by going to my website. That's carolmaewhittick.com, carolmaewhittick.com. You can find me on Facebook under the same name, and on Twitter and on Instagram, Kazmick, Cazmick. So let's keep staying in the truth, because it's not that hard to be there. Okay, so I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.